The coolest thing about e-commerce is that with every advancement in technology, there's thousands and thousands of new products that come into the market. And in today's video, we're going to be dissecting a booming market with a specific brand that is absolutely crushing it at about $2 to $3 million a month. And we're going to dissect it and explore it and do some really deep research with a lot of tangible data that we can use and you can use to build your own business. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. The market that I'm talking about is the mobile accessories market. It's estimated at $171 billion in 2024, and it's expected to reach nearly $300 billion by 2033. Now, this is all stats, it's data. It's not necessarily going to be accurate. And I do want to later in this video talk about some of the implications of some of the AI things that we're seeing in today's day and age in this market. We're going to hypothesize some things, but this is the brand that I want to discuss specifically. So this is the brand in this market that I think is so genius. It's called Brick. And what it does is basically it's this little brick that you put on your phone and it basically turns it into a dumb phone. So this is a really cool example of something I've talked about in recent videos. If you've been a subscriber, you may have heard me talk about some of these things, but it's at the perfect intersection of apps and e-commerce. So there's a hardware product attached to this, and there's also a software product attached to it. So it's really cool. Now, one thing right away that I want to point out is that even though this is a hardware product and a software product, they still have a very Shopify-esque layout to their lander. And when I say that, I say it because I talk to a lot of beginners, and a lot of beginners just when they create their store, they don't seem to actually replicate success. I think the best thing you can do is just to literally just follow the same exact structure for whatever store you start. You have your benefits at the top, you have, your buy box, more benefits, more benefits in a picture, some sort of image, FAQs, comparison, reviews, testimonials, which is really just social proof and trust building, and then another FAQ, and then even more reviews here. Very simple layout, honestly, nothing too special. But what is special about this brand is the ads that they run. They're really good at marketing. And actually, this is how I found the brand. I've known about this brand for a long time, but I was using the ShopeeLab Discovery tab. So this is a feature inside the ShopeeLab.ai software where you can basically just scroll ads on Meta. So these are all ads that people are launching right now, like literally right now, and they're spending money behind these ads. So that's why it's a good feature to browse, because if people are spending money on these ads, that means that they're putting effort into them. So this is the ad that I came across that really intrigued me, and I figured, you know what, I gotta make a video about this brand because this is a really good one. So it's a Wirecutter article, and it says, "I bricked my phone for 2 weeks, my brain feels much better." So you're gonna be like, wait, what? What does that even mean, I bricked my phone? So, you click it, and then it takes you to their primary lander, which is getbrick.app. And it's a beautiful landing page. Like I said, it's a very good mix of, hardware and software. It does feel like a software page. It feels like a tech landing page, but of course it's an e-commerce one. So very cool brand altogether. However, that's just one of the ads that they're running. They're running 350 different ads right now that are active. So that's not to say, they're not running more. That's just the ones that are active right now. And they have a variety of them. They have a lot of static ads. So they're launching tons and tons of images, which are very effective. A lot of people think you only can get results on Meta ads with videos, but that is absolutely not true. In fact, images right now are doing so well for a variety of our brands. In fact, one of our brands that we just started last month is doing about $6,000 a day. I'm going to try to show you so you can see. It's early in the day and it's already at $3,000. Maybe you can see it, maybe not. I show that so that you can see that, I'm not just talking theory here. I'm trying to also give you practical advice from my own experience. A lot of you think that I'm just here to sell you stuff. And although I do have things to sell you, or things that you can buy rather, I'm actually not really trying to sell you anything, such as the ShopeeLab software. I'm just genuinely using these tools to share some of the research that I'm doing myself. And, it's kind of a two birds in one stone situation where I'm learning from the videos that I'm making, and I also get the benefit of passing down that information to the world. So yeah, you can try the Shopee Lab Accelerator. There's tons of features. There's courses. It's really an amazing platform. It's kind of our baby. I'm putting a ton of time into this. In fact, this week I'm going very heavy into ensuring that we have the best course in this platform. So we do have courses in here, and they are quite good. I actually built a store in here from scratch that is currently operational and doing about $1,200 a day, and that was started a month ago. So pretty cool progress. Now, besides, this brand is really special, but what I wanted to share next is, of course, some of the ads that they're running. Like I said, they have a lot of statics, but one really interesting thing is that they're a super unique brand. I've actually been looking to source a product like this. I've been looking everywhere. I've been using, Axio. I've been looking on Alibaba. I've been using TeamDrop, a ton of different sourcing platforms, and I'm not able to find any manufacturer that can make this. So, I mean, at least at a first glance. Of course, I'm sure with enough research, you can find somebody that can make this. It's not impossible. But the closest thing I found for a product that's like easy to test is solid state drives. I mean, there's literally millions of phone accessories that you could sell, but I want to give you some tangible things that you could go out there and actually create a store around. And this was one that kind of intrigued me. I never really thought about it until I started doing research on this niche and couldn't really find like a specific brick. But there's tons of really interesting products that you can in the phone accessories market that I've literally never seen before, such as, for example, irrigation control on your phone, right? That's a pretty interesting niche. I never really considered that. There's these kids alarms. That's kind of interesting. I've never seen something like this either. And even on TeamDrop itself. So what's really cool about TeamDrop is that, first of all, it's absolutely free. So you don't have to pay any money to access this platform. But also what's really interesting about it is that it allows you to source products directly from platforms like Taobao and 1688, which are platforms in China that are kind of like the equivalent of Amazon, but maybe even better in some ways, because there's a lot of really original products that we just simply don't see in the US. So even if we look up, phone accessories, actually I did look into this product. This one looks super cool. A solid state drive like this for your phone looks awesome. But let's see, phone accessories, let's look. And by the way, if you want to access this platform for free, the best way to do this is to go to ShopeeLab.ai. You can make a free account. So you can make an absolutely free account and then go to Shopee Lab Sourcing for free and then click on TeamDrop right here. And then it'll take you to TeamDrop. But there's so many phone accessories that one could build a business around. Some of these are obviously just kind of funky and weird, but the reason these products are good is because nobody has ever seen them. So whenever you run an advertisement to it on Meta, let's say, you're gonna be able to, it's gonna be eye-catching for people. Like, who's ever seen something like this? I've never seen something like this. It's a phone holder, right, for your phone. Very standard thing, but it's got this little like helmet on it, which is just cute. I've never seen anybody sell something like this. Now, of course, this product may not scale to, $10 million a year or anything, but products like this could certainly make consistent sales for you. And a lot of you guys are just looking for your first 10K a month, right? So you can test products like this that are just very unique, very good, and ideally affordable to ship, and run them on Meta. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting product that I wanted to share with you. There's tons of products. I did just a little bit of research. I was honestly just aiming to find something like the brick, but there's literally nothing out there that's just like ready to ship. So you'd have to custom develop a product like this, which is obviously more difficult, but definitely worth the effort if you're planning to, really go all in on a brand like this. But ultimately, yeah, this is also like a niche within a niche, right? Because this is a phone accessory, but it's also kind of like an anti-phone. And this is the thing that I wanted to mention at the beginning that I told you guys about, where I feel like AI is going to change things very quick when it comes to the way that we use our phones. So although the estimates for this niche are quite big, right? Like there's going to be a lot of growth in this niche. At the same time, I feel like there will come a peak where phone accessories are not going to be, phone accessories as we know them. In fact, I think maybe in the future there's going to be a different way to communicate that doesn't involve phones. Maybe in the future, like we literally won't use phones at all. So this market is going to be totally obsolete. And that may sound scary to some of you, especially if you're all in on a phone accessory brand. But here's how you should reframe that. You should reframe that as, like I mentioned at the literal hook of this video, technological advancements just create all kinds of new products every year. So if you're just adaptable and if you can just kind of like take things as they come and adapt to them, you're always going to have a ton of opportunity at your disposal, which is pretty cool if you think about it. Now, I just noticed this is literally a Lenovo product. So yeah, I don't know if you can sell this, but that's kind of interesting that they have these available. I did want to also show you some results from Brick, actually. This is one of the reasons I wanted to showcase it to you, is that they are just literally mooning. Like their traffic distribution is going straight to the moon. And anytime I find something like this, I instantly want to share it or note it down, right? Because they're clearly doing something right. It's possible that, they're probably just spending a ton of money on meta ads, of course, so that's how they're just continuously increasing traffic. But at the same time, nobody would do that on like just losing money every single month unless they have some sort of recurring revenue. But in this case, they don't have any recurring revenue. They don't charge a subscription for this. It's just a one-time cost, and their traffic distribution is just going crazy. Like I love finding charts like this because it just tells us there's a lot to learn from the brand. So they're getting a lot of traffic from the US, that's their primary market, but they're also getting a lot of traffic from the UK, from Australia, from Germany, and from Canada. So a lot of the big markets out there, they're getting traffic from. And as I just mentioned, they have a ton of static apps that they're launching all the time. So, a lot of these are launched very recently. They're constantly throwing in new batches of creatives into their campaigns on Meta. Obviously we don't know exactly how they structure their campaigns on Meta, but I would imagine it's something very simple, something like, 1 or 2 campaigns where they're just constantly throwing new batches of ads and just letting it run at a really high budget, probably something like $10,000 to $20,000 a day is my guess. But of course we will never know. Another thing, worth noting is they're really going heavy into the HSA and FSA eligibility, which is something I mentioned in my last video. If you saw it, it's this sort of insurance that a lot of people have where they can get their insurance to actually cover the purchase. And that's one of the craziest things about the health related market, is that in the US at least, you can have HSA eligibility, which means that people's health insurance will literally cover your product cost or the cost of the product for that customer. Obviously you just get paid out normally, but the customer doesn't pay anything because they have that insurance. So it's almost like a kind of stimulus check that people are getting in order to to be able to spend on health products. Super interesting stuff. I don't know how you become eligible for that, but I'm sure there's a way. You guys can figure it out. And, if any of you guys know, feel free to share it in the comments, right? This is a collaborative effort that we have going on here on my channel, especially through our live streams, which I will be streaming later today, I think. I'm not sure. I might be too busy. Right now, I'm going really hard at ensuring that everything is proper in the Shopee Lab Accelerator for Accelerator members and in the software side of things, the course side of things. But I thought this was a very interesting brand, so I wanted to share it with you guys. If you guys know more or want to learn more, feel free to join our community. Feel free to leave comments in the comments. I check all the comments, believe it or not. I always take the time to answer you guys. Even the haters. So even people who are, criticize my content or, say that I'm just here to sell stuff, or I don't know, people have negative things to say with every piece of content that anybody makes, even if it's the most positive thing in the world. There's always going to be critics, and I'm actually totally fine with that. That's what comes with the territory. If you're posting online, you can't get upset that people are going to criticize you, right? Like that's just what comes with the territory. You just have to have conviction in what you're doing and believe in yourself and, be constructive. Like I'm happy to debate things with critics. I do that very often, especially on Instagram. I'm always answering Instagram comments because on Instagram, for some reason, I get the most resistance. Like people are like, "Nice try, Diddy." Like nobody's making 100K a month on Shopify. Like that's impossible. It's like 1 in a million. And yeah, it's just crazy. People just have these like very strong limiting beliefs. But I'm literally like, we built a store last month that is doing 100K a month, like 100K within the first 30 days. And we've done even a million a month in, 30 days. So yeah, it's just wild how people have these limiting beliefs. But at the same time, I do think it's fine. It's a kind of a good thing that people are skeptical, because a lot of people unfortunately do get taken advantage of because they are too trusting of people that, have all these like material things in their lives. So yeah, just try not to be a critic on the real data, or you can be a critic, but don't be a cynic when it comes to, people like me, where I'm like genuinely sharing data, genuinely sharing value. I'm not just promoting this insane lifestyle and trying to sell you a dream. I'm literally showing you that it's possible because these brands are doing it. I'm giving you resources that are absolutely free that you can use to test the waters and get reps in, right? Start testing things, get repetitions. And of course, I'm building a whole platform that it just enables more businesses to succeed on Shopify, which is kind of my goal right now. That's sort of my mission right now. I want more people to build successful Shopify stores, and I want to, just continue to build this channel, report on the latest findings that I have, and just have fun. So that's about it. Big yap sesh today. Hopefully you found this interesting. This is a massive market, so definitely not a bad idea to have a phone accessory store, at least right now. Maybe 20 years from now we won't have phones anymore, and your store will be selling Neuralink accessories, who knows. But yeah, definitely not a bad one at all to start. Super booming market, so many different products you can sell in it, and this is a great example of a brand that is innovating by not only having this hardware product, but also having software attached to it, and solving a huge problem, which is people actually kind of want to be forced to step away from their phones. I actually find that super interesting. So that's about it for this one. See you in the next one. Peace.